Good day, everyone. I'm Sir R.G. Layson, your math tutor and guide on this exciting journey through the world of numbers. In this video, we will discuss all about factoring using common monomial factor. Before we proceed to our main topic about factoring using common monomial factor, let us recall first what are prime factors. Prime factors are natural numbers other than 1 whose only factors are 1 and itself. So let's identify what are the numbers or the natural numbers that can be factored by 1 by itself. Example, we have 1, we have 2 because we can factor 2 by 1 times 2 only by 1 and itself. So another one, we have 3 because we can factor 3 into 1 times 3. We have 5. We have 1 times 5, 7. We have 1 times 7, 11. 1 times 11. We have also 13. 1 times 13. We have also 17. We have 1 times 17. And so on. Now, let's proceed to monomial. So let's recall what is a monomial. A monomial is an algebraic expression with a single term but can have multiple variables and higher degree too. For example, we have 9x cubed y times z is a single term, where your 9 is your numerical coefficient, your x, y, z are the variables, and the degree is the degree of a monomial. So another example, we have 10x squared, we have 5y cubed. That is an example of a monomial which have a single term. We do have a numerical coefficient at the same time variable on that. Now, in a polynomials are algebraic expression that consist of variable and coefficient. Variable are also sometimes called indeterminates. We can perform our arithmetic operations such as addition, subtraction, and multiplication, and also positive integer exponent for polynomial expression, but not division by variable. An example of that, a polynomial which have a variable, we have x squared plus x minus 12. In this example, there are 3 terms. We have x squared, x, and negative 12. Another example, we have 5x squared plus 3x plus 10. So we have here, first term is 5x squared, and second term we have 3x, and the third term is positive 15. Now, why do we need to recall this one? Because it is very important topics, or we need to recall this so that we can easily answer the factoring using common monomial factor. Now, let's also recall the standard form of polynomial. Polynomials in standard form can also be referred to as standard form of a polynomial, which means writing a polynomial in the descending order. So when you say descending order, from the greatest to lowest. So the descending order of the power of the variable. So the exponent, no, to the raise to the power. So to write a polynomial in the standard form, the degrees of the polynomial is important, as in the standard form of the polynomial. So the terms are written decreasing order of the power of x. So we have example for that. So example number 1. So let's arrange the following polynomial in descending order. So we have here number 1, we have 3x cubed plus 2x squared minus 5x minus 20. Next, we have 3x raised to 5 minus 5x raised to 4x squared plus 50. And then we have 8x cubed negative 19x squared plus 5x minus 42. So that's how you arrange the following polynomial in descending order. So in greatest common monomial factor, or GCMF, it is referred to the common factor having the greatest numerical factor and with variable having the least degree. So we have here now two pair of monomial. So that means we have two terms here. We have 9x cubed and 18x raised to 5. Let's find the GCMF, or the greatest common monomial factor, for these 2 terms. So again, all we need to do is we need to find the greatest numerical factor and the least in the variable, we having the least degree. So let's factor 9x cubed. So as we factor 9x cubed, we need to identify the prime factors that can be factored by 9. So we have 3 times 3 because 3 is a prime number. So we have here 3 times 3 times x cubed. Next, for 18x raised to 5, we have 2 times 3 times 3, since 2 times 3 is 6 times 3 is 18, and x raised to 5. Now, let's identify what are the common numerical coefficient for 9x cubed and 18x raised to 5. We have 3 and 3 here, and another 3. And then in the variable, the least degree is x cubed. So we have 3 times 3 times x cubed, that is 9x cubed. Another example, find the GCMF of the each pair of monomials. We have 4x cubed and 8x squared. So we have here 4, the factor for 4x cubed is 2 times 2 times x cubed. And for the 8x squared, we have 2 times 2 times 2 times x squared. So their common monomial factor, or the they're common for the numerical coefficient, we have 2 and another 2. And the least variable is x squared. So we have now 2 times 2 times x squared, we have 4x squared. Another example, example number 3. Find the GCMF of each pair of monomial. We have 15y raised to 6 and 9z. So we have 15y raised to 6, so we have 3 times 5 times y raised to 6, and then for 9z, we have 3 times 3 times z. So their common, or the GCF for this one, or GCMF for this one, is 3 only. So you need to try this one in your notebook. So you need to answer, find the greatest common factor of the given. We have number 1, 25m raised to 4, 35m raised to 3, 20m raised to 2. Well, number 2, we have 14x raised to 3, 70x raised to 2, and 105x. Number 3, we have 8m cubed and 12m squared and 20mn squared. So there are steps also of factoring the greatest common monomial factor. Number 1, determine the number of terms. Number 2, find the greatest common factor of the numerical coefficient. Number 3, find the variable with the least exponent that appears in each term of the polynomial. It serves as the GCF of the variable. Get the product when you get the greatest common factor of the numerical coefficient and the least exponent for the variable. You need to find the product of the greatest common factor of the numerical coefficient and the variable. It serves as the greatest common monomial factor of the given polynomial. Number 4, find the other factor by dividing the given polynomial by its greatest common factor, monomial factor. And number 5, write the final factored form of the polynomial. Okay, example number 1, write 6x plus 3x squared in the factored form. So determine, step number 1, determine the number of terms. We have 2 terms for this one, 6x and 3x squared. And determine the GCF of the expression. So we have, for 3x squared, we have 3 times x squared. For 6x, we have 2 times 3 times x. Now, find the product of the GCF of the numerical and the variable. So we have here for the numerical, we have common 3. And then the least exponent for the variable, we have x. So we have the GCF is 3x. Find the other factor by dividing each term of the polynomial, that is 6x plus 3x squared, by the GCMF or the GCF. We have 3x. So we have 6x divide 3x plus 3x squared divide 3x. So we have 6x divide 3x, we have 2. And 3x squared divide 3x, we have x. Since we have the GCMF and the other factor, right, we can write now the complete factored form. We have 6x plus 3x squared equals 3x times 2 plus x. To check if our factored form is correct, so we can distribute this one to check. 3x times 2, we have 6x, correct. And then 3x times x, we have 3x squared. That is correct. So example number 2, we have write 12x cubed y raised to 5 minus 20x raised to 5 y squared z in the factored form. So determine the number of terms. We have two terms for this one. We have 12x cubed y raised to 5 and 20x raised to 5 y squared z. Okay, step number 2, we need to determine the GCMF of the expression. For 12x cubed y raised to 5, we have 2 times 2 times 3 times x cubed times y raised to 5. For 20x raised to 5 y squared times z, we have 2 times 2 times 5. Since 2 times 2 is 4 times 5, 20. X raised to 5 y squared z. Find the product of the GCMF of the numerical coefficient and the variable. So their common here is 2 and 2, another 2. And for the x, we have the least value is x cubed. And for the y, we have y squared. So we have 2 times 2 times x cubed times y squared. We have 4x cubed y squared. That is the GCMF for this one. Find the other factor by dividing each term of the polynomial 12x cubed y raised to 5 minus 20x raised to 5 y squared z by the GCMF 4x cubed y squared. So we have here 12 divide 4, we have 3. X cubed divide x cubed, that is 1. Y raised to 5 divide y raised to 2, that is y raised to 3. Minus, so that is, change this one. So we have negative 20 divide 4, we have negative 5. X raised to 5 divide x raised to 3, we have x raised to 2. Y raised to 2 divide y raised to 2 is 1. And then z divide 1, which is z. So we have now the other factor, so we can write the complete factored form by 12x cubed y raised to 5 minus 20x raised to 5 y squared z. So we have the GCMF 4x cubed y squared times the other factor 3y cubed times 5x squared z. To check, so all you need to do is to distribute. So 4 times 3, we have 12. X cubed times 1, we have x cubed. Y squared times y raised to 3, we have y raised to 5. 4 times negative 5, we have negative 20. X cubed times x squared, we have x raised to 5. Y squared times 1, we have y squared. And then z times 1, we have z. So that is correct. So if you are my student, I need you to answer this one in a one whole yellow paper. So you need to determine the greatest common factor or the GCMF of each polynomial and write its factored form. Write your answer on your answer sheet. So you need also to write the guide questions and answer that one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you've learned something out of this lesson. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and share it to your grade 8 friends. Thank you so much, everyone, and God bless. Goodbye.